If you've never opened Ableton Live before, or this is your first time, don't stress out. It's definitely a little bit intimidating, but by the end of this video, you're gonna know how to move around comfortably, load sounds, and get ready to make your first beat. Back in 2020, I downloaded Ableton for the first time, and honestly had no clue what I was doing. Let's just say I was very lost. Fast forward to 2025, and I've made well over 350 tracks, raked up millions of plays, and have played shows that I used to dream about. And to top it all off, I've built a full vocal sample pack business from scratch. And no, you don't need to know any complicated music theory or have some degree to make good music or make a good living in the music industry. Okay, so I will be breaking down how I teach into a small video series so I can better help you learn everything that you need to know, some specifics, and stuff that's not going to leave you confused. I'm going to try my best to make every video about the same length, so if you follow along, you'll be making songs in no time. But I want to give you the harsh truth that you're not going to learn Ableton in the snap of a finger. But just remember, good things don't come easy. The key to learning it is repetition and time. If you can stay consistent and follow along with these videos, you'll be just fine. Okay, enough of me rambling, let's do this. I just recorded this entire video and the audio wasn't recording, so yeah, we're both going to learn something today. So let's get into this. When you first open up Ableton, you're going to see the session view, and you're not going to use this view. This is confusing, especially in the start. This is more for like live mixing and DJs and stuff like that. So you're going to hit tab on your keyboard, which is going to take you to arrangement view, or you can go up into the top right, up here where my mouse is, you can click these little view buttons. So now once we're in arrangement view, this is what Ableton is going to look like. It stock gives you 2 channels for MIDI and audio. So to make it less confusing, let's select the top one. Let's hold down shift on our keyboard, select the 3rd channel, and we'll hit delete. Now we're just working with 1 channel. This will just make your life easy in the start, and you can work your way down. So the way Ableton works, and most DAWs, is you're going to be working your way down, and you're going to work this way. So let's jump into setting some preferences right away so you don't have to touch these again. To open up Ableton Live settings, you can hit Command comma, which will open up the settings, or you can go up to the top left and hit Live, go down to settings. Once your settings is open, let's select the right input and output. So for example, if you have a mic and you want to sing into it, you're going to select your input here, and then you want to hear audio out your speakers or your headphones, you're going to select your output here. Let's say you have a Universal Apollo, select it. Let's say you have a Scarlett, select it, and go from there. So right below that, you'll see sample rate. I would stick with 44.1, and you're going to be safe just leaving it at that. Right below that, you'll see buffer size. I would select anything between 256 and 2048. Anything below 256 in this range is going to be hard on your computer's CPU, so if it starts glitching out or you have issues with your computer, I would definitely select a higher amount. Let's go up to the display and input settings. Right here you can see your zoom. You can zoom in your entire software, or another way to do that is you can hit command and you can hit plus or minus, and you can incrementally do it. You can also do this with the settings closed if you need to, but below that, just make sure all these settings are the same as mine, so you can pause this, and then you're good to go. Under theme and colors, you can select an Ableton theme. There's default. There's a few that they put in their stock, but I like my classic darks. So you can select grid intensity, which you can see the grid lines in the back. And there's brightness settings, and there's some other settings here. Below, you'll see auto assign track colors. This means when you select a new track, it's going to come up with that color. I leave this on so it auto assigns different colors to every single track. You can reduce automatic colors clicking this on, or you can turn it off. You'll get a bigger variety of colors when you add tracks. Now let's select file and folder, turn create analysis track off. Then let's go down to plugins on the side. Right here is a rescan button. So when you download new VSTs or third-party plugins, you can hit rescan and it will find that VST somewhere on your computer. So down on the left, you can see it scanning here. And then you can see this little loading symbol, and it will stop when it's done. To find these VSTs and find these plugins, Ableton sets your folders here. So you can select this browse button and you will go directly to your third-party VST folder. That might be a little confusing, but mainly it's just a subsection of folders that Ableton keeps in its memory, where when you download another plugin that isn't Ableton stock, it is kept there. It's good to know this is here because sometimes you need to access that folder. Let's go down to record, warp, and launch. Make sure your settings are the exact same as mine. And then in this warp and fade section, I choose unwarped one-shots. Auto warp long samples, make sure it's off. Mainly what that does is if you drag a long sample in or a full song, it's going to automatically change the tempo and the BPM of that sample. Default warp mode, I'm going to set to complex. Create fades on clip edges. Make sure this is off. Some people leave this on accident and they don't realize how big of an impact it has. It takes away your transients on your drums. Make sure that's off. The rest of these settings, make sure they're the same as mine and you won't have any issues. Now that you went through all your settings, you shouldn't have to touch anything for the future, you should be set and ready to go. So let's close the settings. Now let's talk about what you're looking at. The top bar is called the transport controls. It's good to know what these things do. We'll start from the left, where you can see the tap tempo button. So this is your tempo right here, or your BPM, depending on what you want to call it. The way I'm moving it right now is grabbing and sliding with my mouse, or you can select a number value, let's say 120, type that in, now it's 120. Or you can tap tempo. So depending on how fast you're tapping, you can ignore these few settings right here. You're not going to need these in the start. You can go over to the metronome right here. You can change the metronome sound by selecting this drop down. You can select the rhythm. And then you can turn it off again by clicking it. Another hotkey is if you hit O on your keyboard, it'll turn the metronome on. To the right, you can see the key of the track. If you select this, you can select, say it's D minor, you can select your key. And then to the right, you have the follower. So let's say you're playing the track, you can select this and it will follow you. And you could select it again and it's off. Anytime it's orange, it can be on. And you have your play button, or you can hit spacebar. That'll play and stop. This is the stop button. Then your record button. We'll get into recording. I'm going to make a dedicated video on recording because it's a whole nother monster in itself, and it's overwhelming in the start. These controls up here, I wouldn't worry about these in the beginning. The only one you're going to really want to know is this one right here. It looks like a backwards arrow. So mainly what this is this is a re-enable automation button. So if you automate a knob to do something automatically for you, you can click this button and it will re-enable that if you mess up the automation. You won't really be using that right now, but just know that it's there for later. The other important button up here on the transport controls is this loop button. So you can see it grabs this region bar. This is your loop region bar. So its home is always going to be in this little general area up here. And when you want to loop something, you're going to grab this bar and you're going to hover over the section you want to loop, and you're going to hit Control L, or you're going to select this up here. I always use Control L because you need to get in the habit of using hotkeys all the time. It'll speed up your process and make your workflow way better. You can also make the loop longer or shorter by selecting Command and hitting the arrow keys forward and backwards. So over here, you can see this little pencil. This icon lets you draw in automations, and I'll show you a little bit more about that in the future. Beside it is the piano. When you select this, you can play piano notes on your keyboard. I'll demonstrate real quick by grabbing a grand piano. So anytime this is on, you can play piano notes through A to K on your keyboard. To the right of that is key mapping. So what this does is if you select this button, everything will go orange. If you select something, let's say you want this channel to turn off. So I'll hit a dash. When I select that and I hit Command K to turn off, you can see I can turn this on and off with the keyboard now. Let's say I hit Command K again. Go over to the left here where you see this little box. You can see now your keyboard shortcut has been put there. You can hit delete that keyboard shortcut, hold Command, hit K, it turns it off. You might not be using key commands in the start, so totally fair. I would just worry about learning the Ableton stock shortcuts. I've made a completely free and very easy Ableton shortcut guide. So if you want to download that, it's in the description, first link. I think the fastest way of implementing it would be putting it on your desktop or printing it out and having it beside you while you're working. So to save you from having to write it all down, just leave it on your desktop or print it out and look at it whenever you need it. Super helpful. Anyway, in the description, right beside the keyboard shortcut button, there is a MIDI shortcut button. So if you have something like this or a MIDI keyboard, you can select this to blue, and then you can select a knob or anything on your MIDI keyboard, and that will immediately map your MIDI to something in the DAW. Shortcut Command M, you can select that and it will turn it on and off. Right beside that, you can see your sample rate, and right beside that, you can see how much CPU your project is using by a % value right here. So you can see this little section right here, right underneath the transport control. If you grab that and drag it, you're going to zoom in and zoom out. I've only ever really learned to zoom in and zoom out by holding down Command because it's much faster, or if you have a laptop and you want to zoom in and zoom out with your fingers, it's 2 fingers in and out, super simple. To go left and right, you can hit Shift and you can scroll. It's going to do the same thing. So Command is in and out, Shift is left and right. This will improve your workflow insanely, so learn that. The only thing you're really going to want to know up here is this little button right here. This is the automation lane. So anytime you want to automate something, you can select this, but I've only ever done it by selecting A on the keyboard. That is the hotkey. And you're going to use that a lot, especially if you want to become a good producer. Pretty much anything in Ableton you can usually grab and you can make bigger or smaller by just grabbing the corners. So this is just a good thing to know. But let's move on to this channel section. So right here, you can see an audio track. You want to make a new audio track, you can hit Command T and it's going to make a new audio track below it. Hit Command T again, you're going to make a new one. You want to delete these, you can select them and delete. If you want to make a MIDI track, you can hit Shift Command T and it's going to make a MIDI track. The difference between an audio and a MIDI track is audio is for audio, something like samples, instrumentals and stuff like that, where MIDI is for virtual instruments, something like a piano, a synthesizer like Serum, or maybe a drum rack, a sampler, stuff like that. The other way, if you don't want to use key commands, is you can right click this section right here and you can see you can open up an audio track or a MIDI track right there. You can see this third return track. I wouldn't worry about return tracks in the beginning. I'm years in, I still do not use return tracks. For some people's workflow, it is great, but honestly, anytime I want to use effects, I always just put it on the exact track that I want it on. So say if it's a drum, I want certain effects to that exact drum, I just add them and go from there. Mainly what a return track is, you can send the audio to the effect, it goes through the effect and returns back as an affected signal. And it might sound complicating, so that's why I don't really worry about it in the beginning. Sometimes I just honestly select these and delete them so they're out of my way. So these settings right here, this is your channel on and off. This is your solo button, so if you want to solo just this channel. So this is your arm button to record. This is your channel volume, so your entire volume for this channel. The way I'm sliding it is grabbing my mouse and sliding up and down, or you can hit the arrow key, you can incrementally do it, or you can select a number value. Let's say it's -6. I'll type in -6 and there you go. You can double click, it'll go back to 0. This is your panning, so see it says center and the left and then the right. Same with this with the values. You can change the values. Say let's -20. You can type in -20. It's going to go 20. Say you want to do +20. It's going to go to the right side. Double click. It's going to go back to 0. These little infinity signs are for the returns. Don't really use them, so don't really worry about them right now. And then all the way down at the bottom, this is your main master channel. I would not mess with the volume. I would always leave it at 0. That's just a rule of thumb. Right here, this little blue button, this is your preview volume. So let's say you have the metronome on, hitting 0, turns on the metronome. What's going on here, man? Okay. Dude, I was flowing. I'm confused. Oh, it's because I have a 1 bar count in on. Okay. So this is the preview volume right here, this little blue. So let's say you have the metronome on. You can turn it up or turn it down. This will also preview any samples in your navigation bar over here, which I'll explain in a second. Right below it are some width and height settings. I just made a few tracks to show you quick. So if you hit these, or on your keyboard, you can hit W and H. It will adjust the centering and the height of these tracks. It makes more sense when you have an entire project, not just a few little channels. All right, now let's go to the navigation bar, which is all the way to the left. And this is kind of like your toolbox for everything you need in your project. So up to the top left, you can see this little button. Just underneath the exit button, there is this. So select that, it will open up the navigation bar. So mine will look a little bit different than yours because I have years of folders and samples and certain things that I've organized to my personal liking. But the first thing I'm going to say, this is pretty much a finder if you're on Mac, or files if you're on PC. You can pretty much find anything here as long as it can be pulled into Ableton. So if it's like an instrumental, you can search up an instrumental and you'll find something and you can select it and it will preview anything that you select. So you'll see these color drop downs. So these are very important on keeping organized. If you want, you can copy the way I've listed these, where I put my plugins and certain tools by red. Orange is my one-shots and drums, personal samples and presets that I've made. Green is effects and ear candies. Blue is loops, vocals is pink, and so on. The way you color code things is when you find something in your search bar. So let's say it's a sample under here. So you can right click on it and those colors will pop up right here. And trust me, in the beginning, you should be doing this immediately because it will make your workflow way better. You'll be able to save samples that you like and you want to reuse, and this helps develop your sound a lot faster than most people. So when you're in this section, to pull something into the project, you just grab it, drag it in, pull it into the section or just below, and it will create a new track, or it will add the sample onto the existing track. One thing I would suggest following along with me throughout this tutorial, and you will learn way faster than just watching, because you'll forget 3/4 of the stuff I just told you. You'll probably be overwhelmed and not want to produce music. But if you follow along, it's super simple. Just take it slow, rewatch this if you need, and you'll be golden. So let's check if you have audio. So I'm gonna hit the space bar and hit play on the keyboard. So I can hear it. I can see that the audio is coming through right here. If you can't hear anything, make sure that your interface is turned up. If you have headphones on, select Command comma, go to your audio settings and make sure your output device is selected correctly. If it's your MacBook speakers or whatever you're producing on, you can select that in here. Or if you just have your headphones plugged right into your computer, it should say external headphones up here somewhere in the top. So pretty much find anything you need in this section down here in this little places section, this is folders that you can select. If you go down to the bottom, you can say add folder. And if you have a folder that you want, so let's say you download a sample pack, let's say it's called Drums 101, search up Drums 101, you'll find it, add it in there, and now it will appear down here at all times. You can simply delete those by right clicking and removing from sidebar. You can change the icon, or you can rename it, or if you want to find where that is, you can hit show in finder and it will find where it is. In this library section, this is everything that Ableton Live will give you. This is also categorizing everything that you're going to use for samples. So think about this as all your sounds, your devices, anything that Ableton is going to let you use. So you can select through, find stuff that you need, and up here there's little categories. So if you want to find a character, different style sounds, devices, and then you can right click beside the search bar and there's more filtering options right here. But usually I'm honestly always just searching stuff. So if I want like a piano, I'll search a piano and pianos will pop up. So mainly that is the navigation bar. I know that's like a lot going on. It's confusing. It is, but you're going to learn it over time. And you just got to keep opening it, keep shuffling around. You'll understand how it works. Mainly think about it as a search bar for now and make sure to color code things. Will make your life a lot easier. So now what you're looking at in Ableton, there's 3 different views you can think about Ableton in. One will be the arrangement view, which is this whole entire section that you're looking at right now. The other will be the navigation view, which is this section we just looked at. The last one will be the device view or the clip editor. These two are down here in this bottom section. You can see right here, you can open and close these, or you can select on the sample or the device you're using and you can hit Shift Tab and it will bounce back and forth between the clip editor and the device view. So this view is where you have all your plugins. Let's say you have third-party VSTs or Ableton stock plugins like reverbs or anything you want to use. These are going to stack up here. And the way they're going to work is the sound is going to run left to right through these devices. The output is always going to be at the right. And if you just watch me duplicate that, you can duplicate anything in Ableton by hitting Command D, or if you select on it, there's a duplicate button right here. That goes with samples too, or even audio tracks. Command D. I just duplicated everything. You might not have anything already in the device view. This is something I've already preset. So every time I add an audio track, I have preset devices on here. This might be a little nerdy for now, but to do that, you go down here and say save as default audio track. This will automatically load every single audio track with whatever you've put on here. So I like a utility, I like an EQ, and I like some reverb. But if you want, you can just ignore that. If that sounds like gibberish, don't worry about it. That's just something that's helpful if you're more intermediate and you're kind of getting the gist of it. To add anything on this device view, go up here, search it up. Let's say I want an EQ. I'm going to pull EQ8 in. I'm going to select it and I'm going to drag it in, or I'm going to drag it onto the audio track. So now it pops up and now you have an EQ. You get the gist of it. So now I'm going to explain something which is called grouping. This is an important thing to know before you even start making music. And this helps you categorize sounds. So I'm going to show you quickly how to do that. You're going to select the first channel. You're going to hit Shift. You're going to select the next one. You're going to hit Command G on your keyboard. That will group. Or you can select, hit Shift, select again, right click, go down to group tracks, and that will group the track. To undo anything you just did in Ableton, you can hit Command Z and that will undo the last move that you just made. If you want to re-undo that, you can hit Shift Command Z and that will put you back to the position you were just in case you accidentally undid something that you didn't mean to. I know it was a tongue twister, but that's an important thing to know. Just remember that there's a cheat sheet of these Ableton shortcuts. You don't have to remember them all in this video because it is a lot, but it helps your workflow insanely. So I've linked that, grab it if you want. And I honestly suggest printing it out. Go to work, use their ink, don't use your own at home. Print that shit off, put it in your studio, put it on your laptop, follow it, it will save your life. So now if you want to name anything, you can select Command R to rename. So let's say this is synths. Now this is your synths group. You can color code this group by right clicking, selecting a color, going down to assign track color to grouped. Now this is your synths group. So think about groups as your entire song being the house and a group being the room. So let's say your synths are in one room. That is the synth group or the synth room. You want to turn off the light in that room, turn them completely off. Well, you can turn them off right there. Now they're both off. If I hit the space bar to play, you can't hear anything. If I go turn the light on, now you can hear them. This is a good way to customize these sounds at the same time. Or if you want to do interesting panning, you can pan these. And it honestly just helps you stay organized. People also call bussing grouping and grouping bussing. If somebody refers to something as bussing, it's the same thing as grouping. Ableton just calls it groups. Now, if you want to see the volume level of these audio tracks, you can hit tab to go to the session view. And you can see in this bottom corner, there's a little marker. You want to reset it, you can just click it, it will reset. So this one is the group audio. So entirely, this is what it's hitting. But like I said, session view is confusing and you don't really have to worry about it in the beginning, but this is just good to know it's there. If you ever want to see, oh, is this clipping, or oh, is this hitting -6 or -1 or whatever dB you want to look at, it's right there. Hit tab again, go back. A neat stat I just looked at, 75% of you are not subscribed. So if you want to show us some love, definitely think about subscribe. And if this has been helpful at all, you should click that button for us, because in an interesting way, you're part of our story now. We want to see you grow. We got a lot of good videos coming that are going to help you learn Ableton in no time. And hey, drop us a comment if this is your first time opening Ableton and it's confusing as because totally fair. Because if you're feeling that, well, I was in the same boat, because hey, it's overwhelming, it's a little confusing, but you'll get it. It gets easy in no time. So now let's say you want to save this project. You can hit Command S to save. But that's just a quick save. There's 2 ways to save a project in Ableton, and this is very important, especially in the beginning. Else you're going to start losing samples, and you're going to open projects, and you're going to be like, oh, there's a bunch of files missing, and I can't work on the song anymore. Because believe me, I did that for the first year, and it sucked. Until somebody told me to religiously collect all and save. So I'm going to show you up in the top left. If you go File, you go down to Collect All and Save. Make sure all these are yes, and then hit OK. You're going to get asked where you want to put it. So this is important from the start. Be organized. Put everything in one big folder, and then make subsections of that folder. So let's say it's 2024, 2025, 2026. You can label those by year. You can label them by month. You can label them by original or a remix inside of that year. If you do podcast audio, YouTube audio, whatever you want, but just make subsections and subfolders to be organized. Else you're gonna have files all over the computer and you're never gonna find your music. It's just a very helpful thing to do from the start. So once you found your location where to put it, you can hit save and it's gonna collect all and save everything. And then what that does, think about it as if you put all your sounds and everything you use in the project in a basket. You put that basket on the shelf and it's saved for later. But if you just save your project and you don't collect all and save it, it's only gonna grab a picture of all that stuff that was in the room before you grabbed it in the basket and saved it for later. But none of that stuff's gonna be there. Because if you move anything on your computer, say you used a sound that was on your desktop, and then you move that sound into the trash, and you don't have that sound anymore, it's not going to be saved anywhere on your computer. It's going to be missing forever. So moral of the story, collect all and save, grabs everything, saves it for later. So if you open that project in the future, everything you used is still there. Once it's collect all and saved, now you can hit Command S anytime when you're working in that project, and it's just going to save everything that you've done recently into that basket, into that collect all and save project, and you're safe. Also a really helpful tip, it's also better to oversave than undersave. So get in the habit of hitting Command S all the time. Although Ableton does have a really good recovery and backup system, you don't want to rely on it because sometimes you will lose stuff. I hope that wasn't really confusing. I try to break that down in the way my brain thinks about it. And bro, I barely passed high school, but we're figuring it out. So now that we talked about saving, I want to show you something before I forget, where if you zoom in, Command scroll, I'm going to zoom in. You can grab these clip edges. You can fade these clips in and out. You can hit Command E to cut. You can hit D to delete. Command Z to bring it back. Grab the fades. Move them around. Let's say you want to reverse that. You can just hit R. It will reverse. R again. It will reverse it again. Now if you go down here, select, and you hit Shift Tab, it's going to open that clip editor like we talked about earlier. There's also a reverse button in here. Just select it again. I wouldn't really worry about the warping and stuff. I'm going to break this down in video 2, so it's not so overwhelming and not so complicated right now. But these are just more options and more settings. You can mess with your sound in more detail. Let's hit Shift Tab again to go back. So honestly, Ableton is very easy to start arranging visually. So like I said earlier, if you just work your way to the left and work your way down in a project. But we're going to make our first beat in the video right after this. And it's going to break down some of the stuff you need to know before you really start making tracks. This is just gathering the fundamentals, because if you're looking at this and you don't know what you're looking at, you're not going to be able to make a song. And don't get me wrong, it's going to take a little bit to get the hang of it. Got to have some patience in yourself. If you're having a coffee with me, cheers. Okay. The last thing, if you want to export your track, you're going to hit Shift Command R, or you can go to the top left to File, go down to Export. Right here, you can select what track you want rendered, if you want the main or if you want an individual track. So let's say we want the synths only, you can select it. I would keep it on main if you just want your song exported. Shows your sample rate that you made it in. Don't change this. What kind of file? You're going to want a wave at 24-bit. Don't go any higher, don't go any lower. You're safe at this. If you want an MP3, you can select on. If you don't want an MP3, you can turn it off. If you just want an MP3, you can turn the wave off and you can leave MP3 on. Well, today you learned how to navigate Ableton, audio setup, tracks, how to drag samples in, saving projects, and how to export. So those are just the very basics. So in the next video, to not complicate things, we're going to break down how to make your first beat. Don't forget to grab that shortcut guide with the first link in the description, because trust me, it's going to save you so much time. But anyway, love you. Thanks for checking in. I hope you learned a lot. Give that like button a little flick for us and go enjoy the rest of your day.